going. Let's do it. Okay, looks like it's loading. All right, here we go. All right, good morning, everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. We are here this Saturday morning. I apologize for the delay, little technical difficulties, all this stuff. Can't wait, little technical difficulties. All this technology sometimes is a little smarter than I am, obviously. So we are figuring it out as we go. So a couple things I'd like to talk about today. First of all, if you want to talk about a particular subject, put it in the chat, and I will try to see if it goes by and try to answer your question as it goes by. I think if you use one of these super chat things, that allows it to be highlighted, and I'll certainly do my best to answer that question as I see it go by. Additionally, what we can also do is you can call. We have a phone number that we have set up. That's like super. Oh, can't hear me. I'm trying to turn it up. Can you hear me now? Okay. Holly Peanut Pepper says she can hear just fine. All right. And then Patricia Burkell says volume. Volume's a bit low. We're going to figure out this volume thing one of these days. So we also have a phone number if you'd like to call in as well. We're going to give that a test shot right now. If somebody has a question, we'll try to do it by the phone. Like I said, we're kind of a work in progress, but you have to try it to see if it's going to work. But that number is 567-309-0107. If you'd like to call, we'll see how that system is set up. So a couple things, updates. Obviously, the video discovery and audio discovery in the Watts case has been released. We are getting bits and pieces of it already. We put in our request, and the issue becomes with the download. Apparently, a news organization the other day put the link up on the internet, and everybody was supposed to get it. Everyone got it that wasn't supposed to get it, and it crashed their system. So we're working on that. The other thing is, I'm going to give you an update. We talked about the police officer shooting case of Amber Geiger. She's the police officer in Dallas who entered into a neighbor's apartment by a gentleman by the name of Botham Jean. And Officer Geiger originally thought that she was in her apartment and she shot Mr. Jean, and she was charged with manslaughter. The case has progressed, and she was just charged with first-degree murder yesterday. She was indicted on that. So I think that it is that's going to be an interesting case to see how the prosecution proceeds. Obviously, they start off a little weak. I think it had to do because she was a police officer, but the new DA down there said we were going to indict her with murder, which they did. And I'm just not sure how she could have been confused. It was on the wrong floor. The door doesn't just stay ajar. There was a floor mat that by the front door, a welcome mat that his was a distinct color, and it would be very hard that to get that mistaken. The phone number, if you would like to call, let me give that to you once again, 567-309-0107. All right? And the other case that we talked about the other day was the Pike County massacre, as they're referring it to, where the Wagner family is alleged to have basically planned, executed, and killed the family of 8 people over basically a custody dispute. And the matriarch of the family apparently has money. And what money means is that there's going to be some really good lawyers on the case. And it's going to get really interesting because they're trying to make her out to be some sort of slumlord. She has a very lucrative horse breeding stable operation that she runs. So it's going to be interesting to see if looks like the grandma's picking up the bill for everybody and getting everybody good lawyers, because definitely is going to be an interesting case, just given based upon the facts, the indictments, the number of people, and going to see who's going to win. All right. A couple of questions going by here. Let's talk about Miss Kessinger really quick. We put up her entire interview. We put up her entire interview online. Hopefully most of you have listened to it. It's so different from what she has originally told the news, I think in anticipation that she thought it would never be played. And the comments that we received regarding Miss Kessinger was that she people don't like her, don't think she's being truthful, and just not a good situation for her. So let's see. We're going to try this out. We have a phone call here from Oregon.
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Let's try this. Hi, this is Scott. This is Crime Talk. Who do we have on the line?
Hi. I wanted to ask a question about the Wagner case.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to know, in a situation like that, where there are 4 defendants all in the same case, will they be able to communicate to their lawyers, or are they just kind of effectively cut off until the trial, and they'll find out what each other says and does at the end, or their lawyers can tell them what each other's saying before the fact?
Okay. So the question is, the Wagners are the family that's charged in Ohio for the Pike County massacre where they killed 8 people. The caller wanted to know whether the defendants are going to be basically cut off or if they're going to be communicating through their attorneys. I assure you there's going to be some things that are going to be communicated back and forth via attorneys, and there's going to be some coordination. If the Wagners were smart and mom's paying the bill, the matriarch of the family's paying the bill for everybody, all those attorneys better be working together. They'll probably do what they call a joint defense agreement, where they promise not to reveal anything. And then if they're going to, at some point, cut a deal with the district attorney, they basically have to let everybody know so everybody knows to cut them off. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. And I love your show. Thank you so much.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's see here. Look at some of these other comments. The Miss Kessinger case, that is the one that everybody seems to be talking about. And, like I said, the people are going to have to decide. And I received a lot of comments whether anybody thought that she was involved. You're going to have to consider that for yourself. But based upon the information, was it enough to get her charged? I don't see that. But what I do see is she has a potential possibility of, being charged with some sort of false statement or attempting to influence a public official. But with the DA, releasing all this information and basically, I think that if they were going to do that, they would have done it by now. I think the district attorney looks at Miss Kessinger as a victim and that she is not going to be charged in any way. Let's go back to the phone here really quick to Seattle. Let's see who we have on the phone. And this is Scott on Crime Talk. Who do we have on the phone? Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now? Are you there?
Hello?
Yep.
Yes.
Who do we have on the line?
My name is Plain Talk.
Okay. And what's your question?
And my question is, I was wondering about Nicole Kessinger. Could she still be indicted for And is there any way that they would have made some kind of secret agreement with her so that she wouldn't be prosecuted, where the public wouldn't have already known?
It's unlikely. It's unlikely that there's any type of secret agreement. The person that could grant immunity would be the district attorney's office, but they also have prosecutorial discretion as to whether they're going to prosecute a case. Everything that I've seen and heard from the discovery and on the news, I find it highly unlikely that the DA is going to indict Ms. Kessinger. Could they make a case that should come across as not very credible on that tape? That's my general opinion. I think she clearly knows information. The fact that she withheld information and it came out in pieces and she wasn't completely voluntary certainly doesn't help one's credibility. But I don't think anything's going to come of it. But you never know. There's no statute of limitations for murder, but there's 3-year statute of limitations for attempting to influence a public official and 5-year federal statute for lying to federal agents. But it'd be unlikely that the feds would pick that up, in my opinion. So, does that answer your question?
Very interesting. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for your show. Have a
All right.
great day.
Thank you. Have a great day. All right. So, like I said, I think my opinion of Ms. Kessinger seems to go along with a lot of the people who leave comments that they just don't like her or anything along those lines. People have it, but people have their own opinions. They'll have to form their own opinions, but ultimately that's what it comes down to. I don't think she'll ever be charged with anything at all. All right, let's see if we can go back to some of these comments, see if she can, let's see. Someone knows she's an accessory. Yeah, I don't think like I said, once again, the district attorney is only going to bring a charge if they truly believe that they can prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think she'll have enough plausible deniability at this point to not have that happen. I'll take one more call here. Let's see. This is Scott on Crime Talk. Can you hear me? Hi,
yes,
this is Scott.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
With the Rodin massacre, with the Wagners, would they have to prove, who killed each person in order to prosecute them?
No.
Because they're all charged with killing all 8.
Correct. They're charged with
they wouldn't have to prove,
They.
Okay, so how would that work?
Well, unless somebody comes forward and there's some information and they can say this particular person, pulled the trigger 8 times, it really doesn't matter. If they can prove that these people were involved in a conspiracy, and a conspiracy is simply an agreement of 2 or more people to commit an illegal act, and they take a substantial step towards that, they're in the conspiracy. And you are guilty of everything that your co-conspirators do. You may not know of every detail, but you can certainly be found guilty of that. So if they find that there is a conspiracy, which would be a legal determination by the judge, at that point then basically all that evidence will come in against everybody else. Statements of the co-defendants would come in if they're in furtherance of the conspiracy. And so they don't need to be able to necessarily say, this Wagner killed this person and this Wagner killed that person, or one Wagner did it. In a conspiracy, you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. Additionally, there's also a theory of complicity. It's not a charge, it's a legal theory, and you get an instruction at the end, and it basically says if you aid, encourage, abet, or assist somebody in the commission of an offense, you're guilty just like you had done it yourself. Okay? I tell clients all the time, they go do a drive-by shooting or something along those lines, and if you know somebody's going to go, drive by and shoot somebody, and you're in the back seat, and you guys, go get them, you're guilty just like you did it, like yourself. You might as well take a shot. So, I don't think they're going to have a whole lot of trouble. It doesn't really. I guess what I'm saying, it really doesn't matter if they have to be able to prove who did exactly what. They're just going to be able to say, hey, there was conspiracy to kill this other family, probably because of a custody dispute, and this is the result, and these are the people that did it. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, if they're getting private attorneys and mom's paying for them, it should be some really good lawyering going on. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So, like I said, we're trying the call-in thing as well. That number again is 567-309-0107. So, we'll try that. We'll also keep trying to look at some of these questions. And one of the questions on the chats coming up is how she changed her hair color. She looks like Shanann. Those narcissistics calculate. Yeah, I mean, like I think I said this in one of the videos the other day, that you literally, in the Watts case, can come up with just about any fact to support whichever side you want. There's some really, facts that can be argued based upon what we've seen so far. And it's just interesting that the case just played out so quickly. And once again, we're not trying to be a Chris Watts fan or anti-Shanann or pro-Shanann. We're simply trying to be objective here. I have never seen a case that serious plead out that quickly. Okay? Now, you all, if you've seen his video statement, that thing goes over the course of some 6 hours. And this guy deny, and you can see it. I can see it in the detective's eyes when he starts just talking. And that's all they want to do. And I talked about this the other night. When they bring you in for a polygraph examination, it is nothing more than it's an interrogation technique. Okay? Polygraphs, I don't put a whole lot of faith in them. All right? Bottom line. But all the detective wants you to do is keep talking, because you're going to slip up. You're going to deny. And you saw in the interview, oh, Chris, you're a good guy. We don't think you're a bad guy. Well, maybe she did do something. And, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything. They weren't even trying that hard. And these guys, you got to give them kudos. They broke him. But he's not that smart of a guy. And they weren't asking any hardball questions. If you listen to it, they just sit there and let him talk, and he keeps talking. Then there's that awkward silence, and he can't, keep the awkward silence there, and so he has to say something else. And it just, this is a case where I don't know if the Watts family, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of haters here and say, oh, you sound pro. No, I'm not pro Chris Watts. I'm just pro. Let's look at the case for what it is. And I've never seen anything plead out this quickly before. And on top of that, there's issues in there. I've read through the 1,960 pages. I've seen the videos that have been released. From a criminal defense perspective, I could have had some stuff to work with, and I'm just surprised they crumbled so quickly. But that was Mr. Watts' decision. Let's take another call here. Let's see who we've got.
Call from John.
This is Scott. Who do we have on the phone?
Hi, Scott. How are you? This is John.
Hey, John. How are you?
I am well. I have a question about the Pike County case. I noticed that they all waived a speedy trial. And I was wondering, is that because, the prosecution had 2 years to build a case and the defense needs more time, or what are the decisions on those type of things?
Sure. So when anyone is charged with a crime and you're indicted, you have a right to a speedy trial. And because why do we want a speedy trial? We cannot simply have people lingering around in custody. That's one of the reasons why we have the Constitution that we do, was because the Founding Fathers did not like the king being able to say, I don't like you, I'm going to throw you into prison, and I'll give you a trial when I get around to it. So they have a right to a speedy trial. In most places, it varies. Federal court, from the time you get indicted, once you appear, they have 70 days to get you in trial if you're in custody. State of Colorado, it's 6 months. It varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but normally you can either continue the arraignment or enter a plea of not guilty and then waive and toll speedy trial. And in that particular situation is the defense needs more time. All right. The state of Ohio has had 2 years to investigate this case. They've traveled all over the country. And then you basically say, okay, we've had 2 years, but here we go. We're going to give you a trial in, 60 days, 90 days. Go for it. No, it doesn't work that way. To be a defense attorney and to be effective, particularly on a case this big with that many moving parts and players, everyone has to have investigators. And basically everything that is in that discovery, any witnesses, you're going to send an investigator back out to interview them if they'll agree to speak with you. If there's any experts, you need to have somebody consult with and see if they're accurate. Was their testing procedures done correctly? Does the results there? Are the experts making outlandish claims that are simply not, available, just not within a reasonable degree of scientific certainty? That takes time. These defense attorneys are going to have more cases than just that one on their plate. And so people need more time. And the defendants in this particular case are going to be sitting there while they do that, given the nature of the crime. So it's in their best interest to waive it so that their attorneys can prepare. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love your show, and I'll keep watching.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, a couple of these things. Most people just crumble in front of any law enforcement without knowing their rights. That is so true, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a great dilemma, all right? Because when you have kids, I have kids, they're older now, but you want them to grow up and teach them to do the right thing. And what do we always tell our kids? Talk to the police, accept responsibility, those type of things. And then that's the morality of it, and then you have the legality of it. And if you go and confess to the police, you just made their job really easy, and you're probably going to jail or prison. From the legal side of it, you don't want to do any of that. You say, nope, I think I'm just hold off and wait, okay? I can tell you right now, before we started this, I was meeting with a potential client, and Dad took Kid in to talk, thought he should call me. He didn't. He confessed, okay? What can I do for you at that point? It's just mitigation. I can try to reduce it. That's all you can really try to do, okay? And had he not said a word, they wouldn't have been able to prove the case. And most cases can't be proven, or it makes them a heck of a lot more difficult to be proven, if you don't confess, all right? And in this particular case, it's a serious case, and it's just crazy. Super chat, the big jackpot. Thanks. Appreciate that. So you just can't do that. And people always call afterwards. It's like if you signed in a contract for business and you went to your attorney and said, hey, I just signed this contract. Is it a good deal? What does it matter? You've signed it. You're in the contract already. Okay? Anything after that, it really doesn't matter. You're bound to it. So I just don't understand. People always say, well, if I don't talk, I'm going to look like I'm guilty. So what? Take that discomfort because it's better than being found guilty. All right. And that's from a defense attorney's perspective. I've been a prosecutor. I'm a defense attorney. That's what I do. And I like people exercising their rights. Okay. All of them. The Bill of Rights, it's there to protect the individuals out there. Okay? It's a limit on government action. It's a limit on what the government can do. And why are those there? Because the founding fathers knew that that's what the government does. Okay? And they're going to say, we put these protections in there to protect every citizen. You may not like it. Some people say, oh, somebody got off on a technicality. Ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution of the United States of America is not a technicality. Okay? It is the law of the land, okay? Unreasonable searches and seizures, not a technicality, okay? What did the king used to do? If he didn't like you, he'd come rummage through your house and basically say, we're not sure what we're looking for, but we'll know it when we find it. Oh, here's a crime. That's it. Well, you can't do that. You got to get a warrant. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to get probable cause from a judge. Okay? Right to have the 6th Amendment right to have an attorney. They knew that you have to, people should be able to have an attorney if they want to have an advocate for them. Constitutional right. If you're charged with offense, the state has to give you an attorney if you can't afford one, because we're talking about your liberty. Right to a jury trial, not a technicality. Okay? It's simply just drives me nuts when people say that somebody got somebody off on a technicality. Okay? The burden of proof, not a technicality. Proving the case to each and every element of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt to a unanimous jury, not a technicality. It's the law. Okay? And the people that usually say that the most are the ones that come to me and they hire me when they say, "Oh, I thought I'd never have to hire someone like you." And I'm like, "Really? Someone like me? I just defend the Constitution on a daily basis." That's okay. But you're the one here with a child, or you in an awkward situation, and I didn't do anything wrong, and you're hiring me. And they're always one saying, "Well, why is the penalty so harsh? Why is there a mandatory minimum?" But that's usually the same person saying, "Hang him up. We all know he's guilty. What do we have to give him a trial for?" Okay? Everybody hates due process until it's theirs. Okay? So just something to think about, people. Every time we say, bring in the next guilty bastard and, just move the case along. It's called rights. Okay? That's what separates us from all the other despots of the world. All right. Could he get to the kind of rage? What happened with him and Shanann to get to that point? Let's see. I don't know. It's not really complete. I have to ask a question more than just a comment. Why is it easy to put an innocent person in jail but harder to convict a guilty person? Well, lower standard of proof. Royal Knight Soto Nation, Colonel Davidson. Why is it hard to question? Why is it easy to put an innocent person in jail but harder to convict a guilty person? Well, an innocent person, because you're given the presumption of innocence when you get arrested, only takes probable cause. Would a reasonable person believe a crime was committed? That's it. To convict somebody, it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest form of proof known in the land, not only here, but in the United States. Why is it so high? Well, once again, we don't want to convict innocent people or wrongfully convict innocent people. All right? Our system of government is based upon the simple notion it is better to let 10 guilty people go free than convict one innocent person. Okay? And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's the law. It's the Constitution. I get it. Everyone wants to be law and order. I want law and order. But you got to go about it the right way. Okay? It's called your constitutional rights. Do you think due process was bypassed by Christopher Watts? No. He pled guilty. We've read the transcripts to everybody. He said he had enough time to speak with his attorneys. He said he was satisfied with them. He said that this is what he wanted to do. He was under no influence, coercion, or pressure other than the threat of going to prison or possibly death. And the DA hadn't even said they were going to go death on that case yet. Okay? But that's what he wants to do. You can plead guilty all the time. You can say not guilty. Make him prove it. I've had cases where it's been on video and you say, prove it. Okay? No offer. We're going to trial. Prove it. All right, let's see. I think I missed the super chat. Let me go back here. Let's see. Campbell, do you think he planned it or did it out of anger? That's an interesting question. I think he was definitely going to let his wife know that they were going to get a divorce. All right? There's no doubt about that. Because before he was basically trying to cover his tracks as it related to covering up his affair. That Saturday night that they went out to the Ugly Dog, Lazy Dog restaurant and had dinner for $69. She got that notification that, it was $69 for dinner, which is a lot for one person. There's text in there that she's tried to think it was, it's the guys, you buying beers or whatever like that. But then she apparently gets home, the following day, and whether they had a conversation about affairs, who knows, but she apparently tries to buy something online, credit cards denied. She probably complained, he's probably thinking, oh, fine, I'll just run out to that money tree and, make this all go away with her. And frankly, excuse my language, I think he just lost his shit. I think he just had enough, and he wanted to be with this other woman, and he wasn't necessarily thinking necessarily clearly in that regard. Do I think he was insane? Not what I have seen. I think he definitely did it. And, strangulation, that's strangulation is, that's murder. That's after deliberation. Okay. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to strangle somebody. I just did this case. I just had a strangulation case. Holding your hands over somebody to strangle them or to smother their face, it takes 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. After deliberation can be that quickly. So could you say heat of passion? Yeah, I did. It was heat of passion. That's a little more easy to sell to a jury if it truly did happen. I lost it. I shot him, something along those lines. But standing over the mother of your children, killing them, that's a lot tougher to do. I think he maybe had considered it. Maybe he was just going to get a divorce. I think he probably just lost it that night. Still knew what he was doing, no doubt. And then he freaked out. Whether the kids were dead, I think that was an afterthought. Who knows? Maybe he was going to do a murder-suicide or something along those lines. Who knows for sure? Maybe he chickened out and couldn't take his own life. No one will ever know. Unless he tells us, we'll probably never know. Question, is there any way Chris Watts can appeal now on any grounds? No appeal at this point. He's pled guilty. And when you plead guilty, you give up your right to any appeal. Appeal only exists if you go to trial and you're appealing any rulings that the court made. So every time a defense attorney objects, or there's pretrial motions, and if the court allows in evidence that later has turned out shouldn't have come in, or statements, and it resulted in, an unfair trial, then there's something to appeal. But even then, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to win on appeal, because you object to preserve a record, but it simply is not any guarantee. Some things, I think I have great appellate issues, and then the appellate people say, yeah, we don't think so. Or you won on this issue, so that one went away. So it just depends. The only thing Mr. Watts could possibly do at this point would be to file what they call a 35C. It's post-conviction relief, and he would basically have to say that his attorneys were ineffective and that they didn't prepare, they didn't investigate, there's possible defenses, things of that nature. It's very, very hard to overcome, because you have to not only show that the attorneys were ineffective, and the standard is pretty much that, that of a reasonable attorney. There's been cases that went to the Supreme Court on death penalty cases where the counsel was asleep at the counsel table, didn't hear the testimony, drunk, and they said, close enough, good enough, it wouldn't have made a difference in the outcome of it. So pretty unlikely that he would prevail on that, but you never know, because I don't have access to what the defense did in the course of their investigation, or any letters that they may have sent to Mr. Watts so that he can do that. One more thing, if you like this channel, and I hope you do, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Share it with other people if you think that they may enjoy it as well. So hopefully they subscribe. And if you can hit the little bell so you get little notifications, we'd appreciate that too. And then you'll know when we're going live. And hopefully I'll try to get on live if I can figure out all this technical stuff. And go from there. Still taking calls. Haven't had in a while, but the number there, if you wanted to do it, would be 567-309-0107. Let's see. If new evidence appears, could there be an appeal? Yes. But if there were it wouldn't be an appeal at that point. It's still post-conviction relief, and you would have to not only show that it would have made a difference, but that it was not available by a reasonable, diligent attorney at the time. So, once again, it'd be very tough. And unless somebody comes and confesses or said, I did this and he did nothing and he knew nothing about it, that would be tough. Let's see here. Got a super chat. Who will benefit from the life insurance? Not Mr. Watts, that's for sure. If there's any money from life insurance policies, it's a contract. It's a contract between the person and the insurance company to pay if they if somebody dies to take care of that. And so it is, it would be paid to the estate. If they were entitled to, it would probably go to the next person down the line. So more than likely her parents would receive any money, but Mr. Watts will receive nothing. And someone's telling me here in the chats that her father gets benefits and was named. If that's the case, then he would definitely get it. Even Killer Smart these days making it look like an accident. Yeah. Let's see. A lot of people do not like Miss Kessinger. You know, a lot of people, you know, if you just, a lot of people say, well, I don't like the sound of her voice. Well, that's not really enough to necessarily say she's not being truthful. I think what you have to look at is the inconsistencies of what she's previously said to the Denver Post in her interview and then what she told the police. Clearly, some inconsistent statements that one could have easily cross-examined them on quite easily. Let's go to a phone call here and see what we've got. This is Scott on Crime Talk. Who do we have on the phone? Hold on one second. Try this again. All right, who do we have?
Hi, this is Debbie from Florida.
Hi, Debbie from Florida. How are you today?
Hi. I had a question about the calls to the children's school. If nobody knew they were missing, and it was Shenan's mom called later in the day and then said they were missing. There was two other calls saying they were Shenan's mom, but she said it wasn't her those other two times. So do they know who made those calls? I mean, could that be some kind of involvement on somebody else's part?
Just so we're clear, you're talking about the calls that were made to the daycare to cancel the kids' daycare, saying they weren't going to be in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, yeah, there was one call, and I know they said, twice they asked if they were there, and then one time they said, don't call the police, they're okay, everything's okay, so that was kind of suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless Mr. Watts or some other evidence comes about, I don't think there's going to be anybody else charged in this case. I think the district attorney believes that Mr. Watts killed everybody. He pled guilty to it. As far as they're concerned, the case is closed. I just don't see it. I mean, there's lots of little things where you can look at, and had he gone to trial, it'd be definitely good stuff you'd want to argue about, but that's not going to happen. So, all right?
Okay.
Thanks. All right, let's hang up there. All right. So once again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. There's almost 800 people watching right now. Thank you. And like I said, if you like the page, hit the like page, subscribe. That'd be fabulous as well. Let's see. She texted him, "Would you be with me without kids?" Who says that? I agree. There's lots of weird things in Miss Kessinger's text and things like that. Let's see here. No, Scott even said it was BAC. Just, oh gosh. This BAC thing. My gosh, people. The ladies, let's see if I have it right here. I think I have it right here. The autopsy report. The BAC and the decomposition, okay? Does it really matter whether BAC was? No, okay? But what does it show? It says that on the report, okay? Can we just get this resolved once and for all? All right. Autopsy report. Shenan Watts, okay? Blood alcohol concentration, BAC, 0.128 grams per 100,000, 100 milliliters. That's what it says, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. How it got there, whether it was decomposition, whether it was from alcohol, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, people? And if this coroner was on a witness stand and I said, "Doctor, the BAC was a 0.128, he would have to say nothing but, "That's correct." Doctor, you cannot say within a reasonable degree of scientific certainty that it came from decomposition. No, I cannot. Okay? So people, I understand it. I'm not trying to badmouth Shenan. It's a fact. That's what it is. Okay? It's a fact. You may not like the facts, and you can argue it and spin it either way you can. That's fine. Go look at the decomposition research out there. When they do 1,000 autopsies and they can say that 3 to 5 will come back with decomposition, the BACs will be that high. Maybe this is one of those statistical anomalies, okay? And what I said was a 0.128, if it wasn't from decomposition, let's just say it's not, would be the equivalent of that. And what did Shanann text her friends about her suspicion of Chris Watts having an affair? She tells her friend, ugh, I need a drink, okay? I don't know what happened. I don't know if she had a couple of drinks on the plane. I don't know. All I know is the fact is it's a 128, okay? 0.128. Get over it, people. It's 0.128, all right? So hopefully we wrap that up, okay? Let's see here. She was murdered. Lori. She was murdered. Absolutely. Doesn't really matter. Were the children dead before killed Shanann? Who knows? Only people that know are going to be Mr. Watson if he ever tells us. Not really sure. Let's go to the phone here one more time and see what we can do. Oh, let's see here. Hello, is this Rick?
Yes.
Rick, what's your question?
I've been following this case, and I just have a quick question. The guy seems kind of like a coward. So, do you think that he pleaded out that soon because he didn't want to have to go out there in the courtroom and face everybody through this whole process?
That's certainly a factor. That's certainly a factor. I mean, let's face it, he admitted to killing his wife. He lied about it. He came up with a terrible, bogus story. He's a terrible liar. He looks emotionless. Those are the things his attorneys probably told him you need to consider when you go to trial. Here's all the things that make you look bad. It's called consciousness of guilt, okay? If my wife and my children are gone, okay, I'm not going to, be going to work. I'm not going to be telling people don't call the police, don't go in. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be worried, okay? And those are the things the jurors look at. I guarantee you, when a criminal defendant is at a trial, the jurors are looking at him and looking for emotion and things of that nature. And this is the kind of case that had so much publicity. Even if the jurors didn't know about the case, or if they knew about it and said, yeah, I can still be fair and impartial, I'll listen to the evidence, reserve judgment till I hear it all, they look at that kind of stuff. And his attorneys probably said, hey, you got some stuff that looks bad. That's it's reality of it. And he may have said, yeah, he minimized, okay? You saw that video. He was completely minimizing.
Yeah, he was afraid to even look at his mother when she was telling him, she forgave him, and he wouldn't look at the family. He wouldn't look at nobody. All he could do is stare down. He was afraid to make eye contact with anybody. He just seems like he thought he was screwed anyway. Why sit through all this embarrassing trial when I'm done anyways? That's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you can have a couple of theories. If you go with what he said on the video, that he just killed her because she killed the kids, whatever, then why didn't you just tell the police that, okay? He was minimizing, said he didn't do it, never hurt my kids, nothing would happen to them. And then he says, okay, well, maybe I kind of hurt her, and, because this is the reasons why. Give these guys another, 20 minutes interrogating him. He could have said, yeah, I killed him. Okay, some of these interrogators are really good. They'll put you on the grassy knoll in Dallas in '63, and next thing you know, you're, admitting to assassinating Kennedy. People can have that, put in their mind.
I'm calling from Dallas, but anyways, I'm a single father. I have a 6 and a 7-year-old, and if anything was to ever happen to them, even if I saw someone on a baby monitor murdering them, the first thing I would do would rush them to a hospital. It would not be to take them out to a field. So yeah. I feel 100% he killed his kids, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have disposed of them that way. I could see him getting pissed off and killing a wife because he has so much animosity toward her. Maybe he hates her for the life that they've became. But the kid thing, being a single dad, you love them babies. You do anything to protect them. You don't drop them in oil just because someone else killed them.
Yeah, I mean, you're a single father. I mean, let's face it. as a parent, your job is to do one thing when you have kids, and that's to protect them, right? Protect them. Hopefully they grow up to be responsible adults. And that's what, parents do. I agree. And if he had if what he said was true, and I'm using little air quotes here, if he said that was true, that he had killed her because, fine. Then you pick up the phone and say, oh my God, I just killed my wife because she killed my kids. You know what I mean? That's what somebody would say happened. But I did it, but you can't believe it. I just lost it. She killed my children. My children are everything to me. Not, let me go bag them up, wrap them in a sheet, and stuff them into an oil tank. I mean, that's not exactly.
He had to hurt her more, like Bella. He had to hurt her more to get her in there by scratching her up. Yeah. You don't do that. It
goes completely against parental protection. Throughout nature, mothers, any animals, their job is to protect the children. The fathers protect the children. And so, yes. Is that something?
Man, I love the show. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Sounds great. All right.
All right, bye.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. We've got about 2 minutes, and I have to run. But looks like we got the BAC thing going again here. Boy. Like I said, but ladies and gentlemen, it just doesn't matter. It's not like it's going to be a defense. Okay, it doesn't matter. Who cares how it got there? It's so insignificant in the facts of anything, it just doesn't matter. All right? No one's disparaging anybody, just simply stating a fact. It doesn't matter that she was drunk, okay? That's it. Scott, what about a habeas attorney? You only do habeas proceedings once you've exhausted all your state remedies, and so that's not available at this point at all. He'd have to do a 35C, lose on appeals, and then you go federal habeas. Let's see. I'll never see a night of day. Correct. Yeah. Let's see here. Must have stuffed them in. Yeah. It's graphic, and those reports are there. How they describe. I think I gave the page numbers. I think it was like 550 something, where the detectives describe how they go in and recover the bodies, and it's just absolutely, it had to been tough. Had to been tough on them. It goes completely against any parental instinct that anybody has to dispose of the bodies that way. Even if you didn't kill the children, you pled guilty to disposing of them, which were class 3 felonies, and you're looking at 4 to 12 times 3, 36 years right there, if you got the max. So I appreciate everybody tuning in today. I really do. I apologize for the late start. I'm going to figure out this technology stuff. If you like the page, please subscribe. Hit the gray bell for alerts. I would appreciate that. And let us know. Leave a comment. Let's see here. Scott, real quick. Why did Kessinger have an attorney? She had an attorney who I looked up. I don't know him personally, but he doesn't do criminal defense. He does defamation law. Interesting that you'd hire a defamation attorney unless you're either selling a book deal or you want to sue people if they badmouth you. Interesting. I would love to have her come in here. We'll chat. We'll give her time. She can talk. I'll ask her questions, and she can clear things up for the record, so to speak. I would love for that to happen. All right? So I appreciate it. I have to run. So apologize for being late today. Like I said, technical issues. Please like the channel. Please subscribe. And leave comments. We try to go through them, try to like them. If they are, if it's a good comment, we appreciate that. So, thank you for tuning in. Crime Talk. We're gonna have more cases, more videos, more live chats as well. We'll do the call in again. That number is 567-309-0107. And I appreciate you for tuning in. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk.